for some reason last year they drew $41,000.
The representative gave an update on possibly having a county administrator. And so I think that's something we may want to move forward with in the future once we see what the budget might hold. And that's just a person who could, and this is my opinion of it, there's grants out there that that person could seek out, see what's available for our needs, and then work through that. Because right now, there are a lot of big counties who have an administrator who seeks out any kind of grants and applies for them. And that's not put on the council or the commissioners or anybody in there to try to do that. Sherry Thompson's going to be up to talk to you. One big thing, Tony Jacobs from Argo came in to talk a little bit about the jail. And it seems like it's taking a while to get some work going in there. So kind of tried to maybe get that moved forward a little bit more. And then Jake Dunham, as always, is always looking at repair before it gets out of control. And so he is always working at the hospital, the old hospital, the jail, the EMS, and he has some paving that's going to take place at those three areas, not the jail. He'll seal that parking lot to preserve it for a couple more years because there's going to be construction there. It seems to be silly to want to pave and then tear it up. And in my opinion, we are very lucky to have him taking care of our buildings and grounds. William Clarkson came with a reentry and recovery program. We listened to that, but made no commitments whatsoever. There seem to be a lot of people who want to get involved in that. And while I think it's a good purpose and a good way to try to help people who have suffered from addiction, there just seems to be a lot of them out there, and they're all seeking funding from the counties. There is funding from the state that, in my opinion, they need to go after first, and then have a strong plan on how that's going to work and what their facility is going to look like. Deb Johning came in, and I think several of us attended the last area planning on the solar. Where's it going? What are our guidelines? We set some ordinances, and then we seem to want to revisit those often. What's the setback now? I thought we just did the setback, and we're all agreed to that, and now there's more discussion on the setback being further away. Screening was discussed. That's where they're putting these little pine trees, which I've seen deer chewing on those trees, just personally when I was driving somewhere. If we just want to make this as difficult for everybody as we can, I know we can come up with a lot of that. I'm hoping personally that we just simplify it and say, here's the setback. You have to have screening if the neighbor is, too close to you on the property line or whatever. But there's more discussion to happen with that on area planning. The rest of that, I think you're going to have people here today that are going to give, Clyde Schaefer was here with the RCU discussion, and I know he's back again today. I think that's it. I think the other people are going to be here for you to talk.
Back to the jail, Missy, if you would. You guys accepted the bid yesterday.
Yes, we did.
Who did we get?
Let me look on here. Carroll Electric doing the HVAC.
And that bid was for how much?
I don't have it written down here. I'll have to look it up on my sheet.
It was near $6.5 million.
Oh yeah.
I think one bid was 6.5, the other was 7.5.
Yeah,
thereabouts.
I was thinking it was 6.57.
Okay.
And then the other was about 200,000 higher than that, if I had it correctly. But I actually didn't bring that paper today.
The bonding's only for $5 million.
The bonding's for only 5.
So,
yes, that's why I wanted to bring that up in council.
Yeah.
Has anybody discussed where the extra money's coming from?
No,
that was not ever discussed yesterday. It was just, let's go. No. Who do we need to talk to about that, David?
I don't know.
Well, so Gary made the mention of asking if the bond can be extended out another $1 million.
Yeah.
But we do have the funding available, so he wasn't really in favor of extending the bond out. I sent Meeks the the information to find out if that was possible. I don't think it is, but I sent it to Meeks.
So where's the funding? What's he proposing?
We special lit, or we have wind and solar.
That all needs to be discussed before it's started.
Well, they didn't approve anything for that extra
No.
funding, but this project has already been bonded and it has to go. Not one bid came in below that 5 million mark.
Yeah.
Even the previous bids did not come in
That should
below
have been
that.
all brought back to this body here, so we could all discuss it. So we can get the financing, because some of that money's committed.
Right,
For the
Right.
projects.
and we looked at that.
Projects.
I think there was approximately 6 million uncommitted in wind and solar. And I didn't look at the lit to see where we were at with that.
1.8 million yesterday was heard for the culverts, so that's
Right.
what's up to
Right.
6.2,
Correct.
so.
The spreadsheet that you had started or are keeping, I thought we had almost already committed all the special lit money out. Because we had that,
I
we
think
had
there
used,
was
we're using that for,
some left over yet.
Yeah,
A little bit.
Yeah, I just don't know that.
Just a little
amount.
under $1 million, I think, was left over.
was it?
But there are going to be other things to come up also between now and the end of the year. We know that. I would like to recommend, because it helped me a lot, that we have another joint committee between the commissioners and the council where we can discuss some of these things together and all of us add our knowledge in or our input. We kind of said we would do that, and I got a lot out of that meeting, and then we just didn't set another meeting up. But I think it's very beneficial for us to communicate together so we know what everybody's doing.
And then, as David just touched on, I wanted you to talk about the culvert, or the money that was taken out of renewables for.
Well, it was just another appropriation to try to cover the bills and get the job done.
And that was,
Very-
but I wanted to get back to why we got to this point, because this contractor turned in bills a year late.
Exactly.
They were using the money appropriated for this year to pay for last year's stuff, which that money went back to the general fund, is my understanding, is that right?
Not necessarily general, because it's highway
Yeah.
money.
Okay, highway money. excuse
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But they had appropriated the money last year to pay this contractor, and the contractor never submitted the bill. So
Actually, the bills, there were multiple, weren't there, Laura?
I don't know.
3, I thought.
I don't know.
At least 3 bills, I think. They
Jay's
didn't
back there saying 2.
Did you
2.
say it too? Okay.
So anyway, the money was spent on other projects, so they didn't have that money in there. So we're having to do an additional appropriation to get money this year to pay for last year. Yeah. So anyway.
That's the first time I heard someone say the money was spent on other projects.
Yes.
So that money did not go, it didn't come back or sit or not get spent. It got spent, but it didn't get spent on the work that had been.
That's my understanding. They'll talk about it here in a little bit. Joe and Jay are both here to, because you guys will have to approve that money too.
Well, we're getting in a mess, it sounds like, because, if we're not forecasting and holding on to that money that we know we're gonna eventually get billed for it, and we go ahead and spend that, now we gotta, find the money for the work that was done. We're not keeping things, it doesn't look like we're keeping things very orderly from a timing, a bookkeeping standpoint. When I heard the commissioners meeting yesterday, it sounded like that money never got spent because it was, they never turned in the bill, but we found other projects used that money up. Now we got to find some more. We need to get I think we're now $1.5 million over on the jail, it sounds like. I think we did come under on the building that we looked at for the highway.
Mm-hmm.
So we probably need to start truing some of this stuff up and just get a clear picture on where we stand. Because we've got the $5.5 million or whatever committed over the next 5 years for the bridges. Now we've got another request for culverts. At some point, we may overextend ourselves if we're not careful, I think.
Meeks, can you weigh in on the bond situation? Gary asked yesterday if we could extend our bond out $1 million to cover that
I
jail.
don't think so.
I didn't think so either, but I sent you an email. I didn't know if
I
you,
did not get that email. I did
All
not.
the work that went into that bond, and I can't imagine that you could just like.
yeah, I don't think so either, but he asked me and I'm like, I don't think so. And Gary's like, I thought we set it up that way. I'm like, not that I'm aware of, but I pulled the bond paperwork out, looked through it. I did not see where it said we could do that. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought, so. So we would have to rebond, which is a big project to make that, yeah.
Rebonded.
Yeah,
We bonded or come up with money elsewhere, right?
correct.
Wow.
Okay, well, for the next meeting, I'll have an updated report on all our projects with the monies available. Because I'm concerned too, Todd, we've got to make sure we don't overextend ourselves. I think we'll be okay, but
Right.
And we got second floor coming up too.
well, that's still part of that total
Right.
package. You know, I always advise you guys to look at Nikki's reports every month,
Mhm.
because she does do a nice job of keeping the exact monies we have available to use on our projects. But to me, it's the projects amount that we need to discuss before we go ahead and agree to do the projects.
Again, I would suggest that we have a joint meeting and just discuss and see where everybody's at, it's easy to, to lose concept of what we're working together for all the time. And I just think dialogue and communication with the council and commissioners is a very good idea. At least for me, I got a lot of knowledge out of our meeting that we had jointly together in the evening. I would just recommend somehow if we could do that again or set those, I was hoping we were going to do them, maybe trimesters or something, but there doesn't, yeah.
Have you, the commissioners heard any report on how things are going with the rescue 911 out at the 911 ESAP center? As far as training and all that, are we coming along on that or?
A little, I think. We get little, I've gotten small emails about, a couple, not concerns about anyone, just that, always trying to keep employees there. And that would be another one. I think it'd be good to have the company who is doing that for us come in again and say, how long do we stay with that? Because it's an expensive bill.
That's what I was trying to
what I'm
get to.
saying.
Are we getting training done quick enough where we can get away before the end of the 6 months is what I'm
I know.
getting at.
I don't know. Barry would have to answer that one, I guess. And the biggest thing
I
we
think
need,
Gary's gonna say no,
yeah,
Okay,
from the emails I got.
yeah.
okay. I've not heard a thing, so I
Yeah,
didn't.
well, I
know.
have, and I'm glad you said that because, I didn't know if those emails he wanted them to be held
Well, I'm just gonna
confidential.
assume he's gonna say, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
At
not,
least that's the distinction I got from
Yeah.
those emails.
me too.
Okay.
The one last Wednesday,
Well,
I
thank you
think
for that.
particularly.
Very close,
Yeah,
Has he completed his analysis of the department and made all the recommendations he's going to make and all that?
no.
No.
I assume he's working with that department and letting the director say, here's what we need to work on.
yeah,
you know.
I'm not, what
Yeah.
he does, I'm not concerned about that at the time. I'm worried,
Yeah.
I was concerned about just getting people trained where we
Yeah.
can get away from the rescue 911.
Right.
All right.
And have low turnover, so we keep our
Well, where I
people.
was going with that is, I thought he was going to come back with, we put quite a bit of money into that, was some recommendation about how that possibly might involve a reorganization of that whole,
Well, that'll be the
Department.
commissioner's
yeah.
job. So, all right. Anybody else got anything for missing?
Thank you.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
All right, next on the list, Clyde Schaefer, RCU funding.
Clyde Schaefer, RCU President, 7963 North Delaware County Line Road. And,
Ruthie Rose, Randolph County United Office Administrator.
There you go.
okay, so I handed out budgets. The details, really not here to go through the details, but I wanted you guys to at least have them. the commissioners give us direction, and we spoke to some of the council that we needed to bring our budget like way down, period. And so what we're doing is we're going from 242,000 to 150,000 is our ask from the commissioners. Yesterday we presented to them, and I asked if we should come to the council. They said yes. So we wanted to come to you guys, lay out. So the commissioners are going to put a contract. Well, Meeks is going to put a contract together for 1 year. Correct, Meeks?
So that's what they voted on.
That's what they said. So for 1 year at the 150,000, okay? So for us, that's a 39% cut in our budget. So when you look at some of the details, we're still trying to pull them together. Bottom line is the numbers at the bottom is what matters. That's what we're going to stay within. And so you'll see us doing quite a bit of restructuring. We'll also be moving the office down to the first floor, to the old movie theater, and getting off the second floor so we have better access. That will benefit tourism and the chamber the most, to be down on the first floor. So we proposed a 28 and a 29, but they want to wait. Let us put a year under our belt. And 29, you guys just don't know. That's the biggest problem there. So we're fine with that. So basically, once we get the contract, it'll be for 150,000 if you guys, I guess, appropriate it properly. So, questions for us?
Not questions, Clyde. I just want to make for the record, I talked to Scott this week.
Yes.
Obviously, he's in Alaska. He told me he was coming with a presentation and told me a lot about it. So
Good.
I just want to let you know that Scott did communicate that.
Okay, good. Yeah. So the process was, instead of us bringing budgets that get voted down, bring another budget, our deal was we had Tom Kearns from commissioners, Scott from you guys. We just met with them and we hammered it out to where everyone felt it was a doable, workable situation. I wanted Ruthie up here because as it looks right now, Ruthie will be taking the lead for us as an organization. And, all that we still have to work through, but that's the most likely course. And while we're up here, Dave asked a question yesterday because it has been an issue. Dave asked, hey, are you guys going to have someone in the office every day and be open every day? Our people will be at work every day, but we're different than the courthouse. The courthouse, if you need something from the recorder, you come to the courthouse and you get it. Economic development, we have to go out. We got to be in Los Santville, Parker, Farmland, Union City. Our staff has to leave the office to go visit customers, visit businesses, to help them grow and do things. And so it becomes difficult for us to have someone sitting in that office every day, all day. Now, they're all at work. And the way we've been doing it, if anybody walks up to the office, there's a sign that says, hey, here's a number you can call, Ruthie, Carrie. Somebody will answer that and say, hey, we're in Union City, or we put when we're going to be back. But we just don't think it's good use of our money to hire someone to sit in there all day just to wait for someone to walk in the door. And business is different today. I couldn't imagine, I don't even think of a single business that is new to Randolph County that's walked into our door out of the blue without a phone call or an appointment. Things are just different the way things are today. If a business is coming and wants to meet with us, they're going to call us and they're going to say, hey, we're going to be in Randolph County next week. Can we meet? And of course, we'll accommodate, absolutely accommodate. So, but I just want to be really clear with that because it's an issue. Dave is correct. It's a criticism we've took a lot of. Our tourism director is 20 hours a week. And then you got Carrie and Ruthie, which are full-time. But, our commitment is Ruthie's going to be coming to your meetings. She's going to come to the commissioner meetings. We are gonna do a better job of communicating, which we have not done and we need to. So we're gonna be changing the way we do things, to be more accommodating, but with a limited staff, it's difficult for us to run, quote, office hours, so. Anything else?
Sounds like a plan.
Sorta. We're working on it.
Well,
We're working on it. So, all right. Nothing? We're good? Right.
As far as I can tell, nobody else has a question?
Good.
Do you need to vote on something today then? Okay,
No.
This is just a presentation.
Yeah. We just want you
Get the
guys,
information?
well, we want you guys to be informed,
Yes.
because, I mean, the way the government works is, it's complicated. You go to the commissioners, but if the council don't know, then they're in the dark and they have no idea what's going on, or vice versa. So,
We spend a lot of time there.
in the dark,
Yeah.
I know. I noticed from the last conversation. So we just want to try to be really open and keep you guys informed.
appreciate the information.
Thanks.
Okay, next on the agenda, Bethany Siebert, overtime appropriation.
Bethany Seibert.
Seibert, okay,
Seibert.
excuse me.
It's okay. You're not the first, you're not the
And who
only.
you represent?
Veteran Service Office.
Okay, Veteran Service.
Yeah. So we're asking for a little more for this year because we got hit with a 4-day training this year that we did not know about last year when we did our budget. So we're already out of overtime because of it. So we were told to request a little bit more to cover. We have 2 more trainings this year that we have to go to. The next one is actually in Pokagon. So we have that, and then we did a couple more hours of overtime just for the office. So, because sometimes we have veterans who come in over lunch break if we're still there, or they're at the end of the day. So we're just requesting a little bit extra to cover for the rest of the year. And then next year, we asked for more because they said the 4-day trainings are probably going to be a yearly thing now.
How much are you requesting?
300 for this year.
It's in your additional appropriations at the bottom, when you,
Oh, okay.
I think she just wanted to come in and explain to you why she's asking for that.
Yeah.
If I looked at it right, Bethany, you had $560 worth of overtime
Mm-hmm.
appropriated for this year.
Mhm.
And next year you're putting in 900,
Yeah.
so that would cover this 300.
It would, yeah, yeah. And then just a little extra because like I said, sometimes we have veterans who they come in and they go over our lunch break, or they come in towards the end of the day and we go, usually it's only about 15 minutes. So it's not like we're there for an hour after, the shift ends or anything. Generally, it's just they're asking questions and we set up appointments for them to come in later.
Thanks for coming in and explaining it. Seems like a lot of times we get appropriations without any explanation, so appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And I've heard some complaints about the office being closed during the day.
Has that been lately? So my coworker has been out for 3 weeks and
For illness or,
she had a surgery.
okay,
So she has not been cleared to come back yet. She was hoping this week, last week she was hoping to be back, but they said, no, we're gonna go for another week. So she has a final evaluation on Friday, so she's hoping next week.
okay.
And I was telling veterans, I was like, I am here by myself. My phone's ringing, both my doors are being knocked and pulled on. I've got appointments already in there. I've got walk-ins. I'm like, I can't handle everything by myself. So I did put notes on the door saying, due to staff shortages, please call and schedule an appointment. So that's the way I'm trying to handle it right now, all by myself.
Okay,
So,
so it's just you and one other person there in the office?
yeah, and she's not there for, I think,
Are you
going on
both
4 weeks.
considered full-time?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Well, those things do happen.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Hearing none, we thank you.
I got a question.
Yep, yes, miss.
Do I need to come up there?
Yeah, if you're gonna talk, we need to have you here.
I guess I just have a question. I came to visit and it was closed, and I did get in and was able to give them my information to sometime in the near, future to help me research some things. Somebody could be driving from Fort Wayne and they get here and they can't get in. I think we need to find an alternative to shutting that down and saying you can't come in, I don't know what the answer is.
It's not that I don't want to let them in.
I know.
It's just if I have an appointment and my phone's ringing or somebody's at my door, I'd have to stop mid-appointment, talking to that person or having them tell me their story of what's going on and what they want to do to go, talk to somebody else. And I've done that before. But then sometimes these people, even if you're like, okay, I have an appointment, they still want to tell you their story. And then even sometimes if an appointment just started, they can take anywhere from 10 minutes if it's something short, like getting the property tax, to I've had veterans who their paperwork's taken over an hour. And, sometimes these people are like, oh, well, I'm not waiting, or I'll go do something else and come back later. I have more appointments later.
Yeah,
I have other walk-ins later.
And I understand that. If they could just leave some information like I did for the future, or if we could get somebody to cover over there for, I don't know. I don't know an answer to it, but I just hate to see.
It's hard.
You drive a distance and then you can't get in. So I don't know how we can help her out to, I don't know. But I'd be frustrated if I drove from a distance, and because you guys do a great job on coming up with information for people for headstones and everything else. There was a person who I think came in close after me, who just wanted the marker, to order the marker to go on the back of a tombstone, and said that they, they read the sign and then thought, oh shoot, and they came from Muncie. I don't know, but I don't know what an alternative is, but we wanted.
It would be nice if people would call ahead.
Yes, it would, but
I
yeah.
worked with Bethany quite a bit last year on a veteran issue that
Yeah.
was supposed to be
Yeah.
myself. And
Yeah.
they are a busy group.
Oh, I know, they are.
The appointments are
Mhm.
just one right after another. I always, I've always been calling.
Yeah.
Just because I've had this.
Yeah, just wonder if we could get her a little, I don't know who we have do that, but if there was anybody who could just help out over there a little bit.
We've
Whatever.
got a budget that only really allows for 2 people right now.
Right.
And those 2 positions are filled and one of them's out. So it's all falling on you, and that's kind of tough. So.
Like you said, hopefully she'll be cleared by the end of this week and she can come back. So.
Okay.
Appreciate.
And your training do both of you go to the training?
We do.
So that office is closed during that time, too.
Right, and we always put up a sign on the door stating, closed for training. So.
And could you possibly put that on your recording on your phone so people maybe calling in ahead of time?
We could, yeah.
Forward notice.
Yeah.
Is there any opportunity for you to take that training separately, or is it only offered once?
So the state of Indiana is divided into districts, and they actually just reorganize them, and they want you to go with your district if you can, if possible. But if not, if for some reason you miss it, you can go to another district and do theirs. It just might be farther.
Yeah. That might be
and they
better.
don't cover the same training either. Yeah. They go over different trainings. So.
Anything else? We'll get to the appropriation here in a little bit.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for explaining it to us.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Sherry Thompson, grant request.
Good morning.
Good
Sherry
morning.
Thompson, Health Department Coordinator. The reason that I'm here today is to ask permission to apply for the naloxone grant, which is Narcan. We do usually apply for this every year, and the Narcan is distributed to the schools and police, whoever, would need that. I think there's a list there that shows.
And it says here, your amount's requested for 300 kits,
Yes.
and at what price are we talking on that?
There is no price.
Oh, there is no price?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
we do not
You
pay
just apply
for
for
it.
the grant and then you get it?
Yes,
Okay, so the county's not involved on it? there?
no. There's no expense to us or the county.
Move to approve the request.
Second.
David, or Todd approved the request, Beverly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Not hearing anything, motion carried. I'm the one who needs to sign. Very good.
Did anyone have any questions for me?
Not today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Laura Martin's next on the agenda.
Yeah, so based off of IC code, I'm supposed to present to you the estimated property tax levy limits and the estimated reduction due to circuit breaker at your first meeting in August. I do not have that, and most counties are in the same boat that everybody was pushing to get their process finished by August 1st, which is our due date. We did get ours submitted on Friday, but the state then sends me the certifications, and I have not received those from the state yet. The holdup was basically our utility rail files that we get from the state. The state assesses the utilities, which is basically our wind and solar. And those, the first report that came in was wrong. And so we contacted them, and the second report, although we processed it, was not quite right either. We still have not received the corrected from the state, but we went ahead and processed based off of our vendor's recommendation. And Baker Tilly is looking at our numbers, and just wanted to let you know that the reason I don't have what I'm supposed to present to you today. I will tell you that our proposed budget for 2027 is $29,545,938, and our proposed levy is $9,106,794.
Is that before credits?
I believe so, yes.
So about six, according to the report, about 6% of that goes back to the homeowner. Anyway, so the 9 million is what we would roughly expect to receive from property tax.
Yes, yes, and we did submit our budget to the state, and they approved it as is. We did not have to cut anything per the state's guidelines. So we are within our max levy with the state on what was requested.
Right. So I didn't realize that. So the state of Indiana places an assessed value on the wind farm properties.
Mhm.
And isn't this the first year we have one come off
The abatement, yes.
and so this will be the first year where their assessments actually matters? Is that true? It'll be interesting to see the effect of that.
Well, it's not going to give us more money
That it
because,
should decrease the amount of money
The
collected
tax,
from the other
yes.
property taxpayers
Correct. Correct,
in those townships.
correct. So yes.
It would be nice to see, we have the projections that show what it's likely to do when the abatement comes off. It would be nice to see what actually happened as a result of that. Was it the first wind farm, or first wind farm?
Mhm.
It would be nice to see what that actually did to the township's rates Is there a way for us to see that?
I can look at it. I can't show you this one. Yeah. And
What it would have been, yeah. There's no way for us to do that math ourselves.
good luck with that.
Okay.
You're the mathematician.
Well, I'll try. I'd like to take a look.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those are the kinds of things that people would like, they say there's no benefit to having these wind farms to, some would say that. I mean, I can compare them in person. Sure. All right, thank you.
Any other questions for Laura on this? Okay, moving on, Joe Copeland. Jay. Large culvert funding.
Good morning.
Good morning, Joe.
Jay.
Joe Copeland, Highway Engineer.
Jay Long, Randolph County Highway.
Culverts, we've got several large culverts to replace. The list is pretty long. Does anybody need to?
I think I already got one.
Anybody need?
They gave me one, but I don't know exactly.
The problem is, just an estimate, it's not quite $1.8 million, $1,765,552, just an estimate, okay, of the ones that, and I went through and sized these. Most, all these except one currently has a load limit on it. I put that in the third column. Goes anywhere from, 6 ton to 14 tons. And some of these are pretty sad shape. It's estimated that we replace those in 2025. So we're behind.
You're saying we're behind?
The problem is money. We don't have enough to quickly get these replaced. It's going to take years at the rate that we've got our money now with bridge and motor vehicle highways. So what I'm here to ask for is additional money from maybe solar or wind to help us move through these quicker. Some of these are pretty good size. I mean, you're talking 18-foot spans on a couple of these. And it's some of this is going to take some real time to do. We've got aerial power pretty much, I think, over every one of them. And then that doesn't include what's buried underground. And then the crane to set some of these bigger ones, especially those 18-footers, it's going to take a large crane. And the crane, when it sets there on the road's not wide enough to handle the crane. So we've got to build a platform for that crane to set and put his outriggers out so he can get in there and set those concrete pieces. And they weigh quite a bit. So we went to the commissioners yesterday and they didn't have a problem with it. So I'm here today to see if we could get some additional money to start replacing several of these. I'm hoping to get a lot of these done in hopefully 3 years.
I'm getting ready to ask how long the time span you think about in
I'm
3 years to
hoping-
do this.
And of course, a lot of it depends on utilities. You know, if they can shut power off overhead for us, that would help tremendously. But if they can't, you know, they may have to move the power lines, or we may have to purchase right away. I hate to think that we have to do that, but you never know.
We
Some of these-
contract these out, or is it, okay,
Yes.
this isn't something we
Yes.
can.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
one that's on Arbor Pike, that's got, is that inches? Is that why it's such a weird, it's not very expensive, the fifth or sixth one down? That's
Yeah,
the size,
that's a corrugated metal pipe arch.
so it's just a small,
Yeah, it's smaller, 66 by 51, yeah. That's in inches. Yeah, Ed caught me on that yesterday.
Joe, due to the fact that, we're kind of getting a little bit worried about the wind and solar money and so on and so forth, if it's a 3-year project, could we appropriate the money in 3 years? Like say 1.8, could you do 6 this year, 6 next year, and 6? Or does that the way that it would
We could-
work?
We can try, we can pick which ones we're gonna do and get an idea of how much per year we're gonna need and split them up and get a schedule.
Like, that's kind of the way we do on the bridges, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah. And then, so yeah, we can put together a schedule, that's not a problem. Try to go after those lower, load limits first. Get those out of the way, and ones with more traffic.
and in the scheme of things, the total of this is less than the cost of one bridge, isn't it, roughly?
Large, yeah, a good size bridge. Hopefully, we keep asking for federal aid money at 80% from the feds and the state, so that helps a lot. But they won't give us money for culverts. That's all.
This definitely has to be done, and that was the original intent of the wind and solar monies a long time ago, was for roads, bridges, and drainage.
Correct.
This definitely follows the guidelines for that, so. I'd be in favor of letting them get a report back to us on which ones we need and allocating so much per year.
Okay.
It sounds like a start of a
That
plan
would-
anyway, that we can.
I'd much rather do that, because in 3 years, the cost of that stuff may be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I'd like to go ahead and add it to our list of projects so we can kind of see how it fits into the picture.
That's why I was thinking in 3 years, you'll probably have another spreadsheet for the next
Oh,
3. I would assume.
to catch up.
The,
Yeah, you can bring us to the next meeting next month and
yes.
bring us an estimate of what you want to do right away.
I thought I'd also put together a list of all the bridges that we have that we're working on
Mhm.
and how much we're obligated, and whether it's coming out of wind and solar or whether it's coming out of either NVH or a bridge. I mean,
That'd be
one or
great
the other.
information, yeah.
Yeah. that-
Yeah, so we have an idea of what the total, Gary had asked for that, what our total obligation is at this point in time,
Very good.
all right?
That'd be excellent.
Now, here's the next thing, is November, the state's taking applications for federal funding, projects, and bridges is the thing, so, do we want to, the question is, do we want to put in for 2 more bridges paid at 80% from the feds or not? And hopefully that would help get an idea of what our obligation is.
My personal opinion is, yes, we need to get these bridges done too. They're just as important as the culverts. And for 80% funding, that's, we've got to try to find the 20% somewhere.
The only problem with the feds in the state with the 8% funding is all the design, the right-of-way, and the inspection we have to pay up front and then get reimbursed our 80%. Construction's different. We pay 20%, our 20% right up front before they'll even award it to the contract. So, yeah, we have to have some money in the fund to be able to pay that up front, and then we will get reimbursed. So
But yeah, we'll get reimbursed for the initial, for the design and all that, won't we? And
Yeah.
that can go back to the
We pay it.
renewables if that's what we use. But then the 20,000, we just gotta pay that out of NVH or something then, do we?
It's
You
gonna
know,
be,
bridge or
Yeah.
wind,
Yeah.
solar, whatever
Yeah.
it may be, yeah.
I think, Nikki, didn't you say something yesterday about having just gotten some money back on the,
yes,
It comes in slowly.
yeah.
was it a couple of years after the project?
Yes.
It's some of the problem with, when we finish out a project with the state, and I've had a talk with our consultant on change orders, but, if we have money coming back, say that the job ran under, okay, for a particular project, say Bridge 32, they just finished up, they will not give us our reimbursement on what's left until they do a full audit on the project, okay? So once the project has been audited, then they'll give us our money back. So that includes change orders, and I had a little discussion with our consultants that, you know, we don't want to see change orders, and if you do, you put a positive and you put a negative in there so the amount of the change order is small, because if we have to pay that, we're not going to get our 80% back
Yes.
until a few years down
It's
the road.
done.
So I'll get that information together for your next meeting.
Appreciate that, Joe.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And you guys understand you've got an awful big job to do. So, yeah, I'll get that together and we'll try to get something appropriated for you, so
Okay.
get your stuff ordered and get it done.
Anything else?
You want to talk about guardrail?
Yeah, we got the guardrail quotes if you wanted to.
Yes, that'd be neat.
Now, this is just basically for a new guardrail. We didn't have enough time to.
Didn't have enough time to get it used.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A lot less than I thought. So the one they approved yesterday, without knowing the cost of it,
Yeah.
at most was around $8,000.
Yeah,
And that's
that's
installed.
for new.
Yeah.
And that's installed?
Yeah. Yeah. Which we're gonna try to find some used, but we had to start somewhere with, with this, so,
Well, this gives everybody an idea where
yeah.
$35 a foot plus the markup.
Anything else?
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Take care, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Okay, J.D. Prescott.
Mr. Chair, members of the council, J.D. Prescott, serving House District 33, Randolph, Blackford, portions of Jay, Delaware, Henry counties. Here before you for a couple of reasons. The original reason on the calendar was to talk about the property tax discussion going into next session. I've got a repeal and replacement proposal that I'm working on. I was also going to give kind of overview of some of the other options that are being discussed as we move into next session. But if it pleases the chair and the council, before we get into that, I also have a request to make for the council on a road renaming. Is it okay if I
Go
go
right ahead.
right into that, Mr. Chair? Obviously, we had Brad Fisher tragically pass away here recently, just last week. And our road renaming process before the General Assembly is we go through a summer study committee, and then we legislator files a bill after it's been approved through the summer study. And I've talked with the family, spoken with Sheriff Moisner as well, and I think it would be appropriate to rename a section of State Road 36 right in front of Randolph Southern School Corporation, Brad Fisher Memorial Mile. We've got permission. So normally these requests would have had to have been done in June. The Road and Transportation Committee actually meets today I've gotten permission from the speaker to go ahead and do a late request and get it in today. But to do so, I do need the blessing of the local elected body. So with that, I would like to ask your permission to proceed with a road naming resolution to honor Marshal Brad Fisher.
I make a motion that we accept the request. Move forward.
Got a motion?
Second.
Todd's second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Hearing nothing, thank you. Motion carried.
Thank you all, and if we could get the letter in at a later date, Senator Alexander's actually at the State House today for another road naming resolution. So we've kind of divided the task of getting this accomplished today. So I'll give him the affirmative that you guys have approved that, and I appreciate that. And I know the family's very appreciative of everything going forward. That will roll right into the property tax discussion. Obviously, Senate Enrolled Act 1 has got a lot of counties, a lot of cities, communities all across the state kind of scratching their head as we go forward here over the next few years on how we fund local units of government. I think there's a couple different options on the table that's being discussed as we go into the next property or next session of the General Assembly in terms of property taxes. Obviously, assessments are being looked at on one side of things, with the assessment system being inconsistent at best, just the way it's structured. Not quite all due to the assessors or local assessors, as I'm talking to ours here locally prior to the meeting, but just based on the rules that they have to go by based from the state process, the way it's structured and set up, the assessment system at best is very inconsistent. So I know that's one option that's being looked at. Chairman Thompson of our House Ways and Means Committee, who is really the chief architect of Senate Enrolled Act 1 alongside of Senator Holdman, he's got a proposal to kind of continue to go down the path of Senate Bill 1, which would be having that moving towards a rate-based system versus a levy-based system, which would be a rate cap type system that would be put in place in the future, similar to the rate caps that's in the LIP portion of the change. It was in Senate Bill 1, but a similar process to that with the property tax system. So each unit of government would have their own rate caps. Quite frankly, if we go down that path, I think it's going to continue to tighten your budgets even more. And especially when you have the increased deductions and exemptions growing on the flip side of that too. I honestly don't know that that's the best strategy long term when it comes to funding our local units of government. What I try and remind my colleagues is not all units of government are the same. They don't all have, some are operating on much tighter margins than others. We're not all Hamilton County, Noble, in that area. So I'm aware of the constraints that you're under here as a rural county, and keeping that in mind. Another option that's on the table, Senator Mishler has a proposal to essentially give 100% homestead deduction to on the homeowner side of picture. He's had that proposal for the last couple budget cycles as well. So there's discussion there. He was planning on backfilling that with the pre-96 pension liability fund that's going to be rolling off once that liability is paid off at the debt. That fund would not entirely offset the 100% homestead deduction now, but so it would. I believe the way his proposal was is through the General Assembly, basically backfilling the rest of that through a credit of some sort, and then also there could be losses at the local level from that too. The alternative proposal that I've put forward and I've been working on over the last couple of years is 100% repeal of the property tax system and replace it with an entirely new system. And there's multiple reasons for that. I think the property tax system's broken beyond repair from the political standpoint. I think the property tax system is fixable, but I think it's politically suicide to fix it, to be honest with you, because the solution to the property tax system is honestly, you got to get rid of all the exemptions and deductions, broaden your tax base, lower your rate. One of the major problems with the property tax system, when we keep adding all these exemptions and deductions in place, you shrink your assessed valuation base, but those that remain pay a larger share of the tax burden year over year, right? And so as you're your budgets are growing, as your expenditures are increasing due to inflation, your budgets are being constrained due to the circuit breaker loss, the increased deductions, you've got your MLGQ caps, but yet those that do pay into the property tax system, their bills keep going up. So we're in this situation now where homeowners aren't happy, business owners aren't happy because they're seeing increased property taxes, but yet local units of government aren't happy because you're still seeing losses too, based on the way the system's structured and set up. So I do think it's possible to fix it. Like I said, with the system operating in the rears, you'd have to get rid of the exemptions and deductions. And I think most people explaining that to try and do it in a 30-second to a minute soundbite, like the political climate we're in, I think that would be difficult for much. So I don't see that being politically viable. So what I've come up with is a fix to the system would be a replacement with a system that is a broad tax-based system that taxes everybody, but at a low liability, relatively speaking, compared to the property tax system. And that would be a 7% sales tax on services. So my original proposal would be to eliminate the property tax system between the 1s, 2s, and 3%. And for those listening, when I refer to the 1%, your residentials, your 2%, your rentals, your agricultures, your 3%, everything else, your commercial properties, and eliminate that over a 2-year period. And by doing so, we're looking at bringing in roughly $10.6 billion in property taxes next year. Following year, roughly $11.6 billion. That goes, that's statewide, and not a penny goes to the state, all goes to local units of government, as you all know here before the council. But the replacement, if we did a 7% sales tax on services, that would bring between $13 and $15 billion worth of revenue with a few key exemptions. And those exemptions would be healthcare and social services. So your doctor's visits, nursing homes visits, assisted living, that would also include daycare. That would all be sales tax exempt. Education, most education would already be sales tax exempt being nonprofit, but that way you're treating public and private education on a level playing field. And then the last category would be any category that's already sales tax exempt on goods would remain sales tax exempt on services. So your nonprofits, your churches, with the exception of data centers. That's something that's come up. Data centers are sales tax exempt on goods. If we eliminate commercial property taxes, they wouldn't have property taxes. They would need to pay sales tax on goods and services at that point to pay their fair share along the way as well. So again, if you keep that tax base broad, at a 7%, you can actually bring in more revenue, enough to replace both your net levies plus your circuit breaker losses in most cases. Now, this would have to be collected statewide, right? Because here in Randolph County, we hire a lot of our services out of county. And same thing with other rural counties across the state. So it'd be collected statewide and sent back on a distribution formula. First off, 10% would go into a reserve account, build up a healthy reserve. I should mention too, if this system were to go in place, it would have to be phased. It'd have to be 2027 would be the last year of assessments. 2028 would be the last year of property tax payable. You'd start paying out in 29. So you have to operate on the property tax system for a 2-year period before you switch to the new system. Property tax operates in arrears. Sales tax on services, you got to collect in advance. So you'd start collecting on July 1st of 28. So there would be a 6-month overlap where you're paying your last year or your last half of property tax payments, but you're starting to pay sales tax on services. It's important because you have to build up a healthy reserve account from the start. Property tax is a very stable taxing structure. Sales tax on services is very variable. So you want to have it starting off with a 6-month reserve account, but you're going to continue to build that up. So 10% would go into the reserve account, and then let's take the other 90% out. Now let's put that into a bucket that's 100. So I'm going to, as I say, the next amount I'm dividing of what's left in the 90%. 45% of that would go to school corporations. Roughly 45% of property tax dollars statewide go to schools for operation and debt services. So we're mirroring where it goes with the property taxes. And I get that that's going to be a little bit different county to county on these ratios, but statewide average is 45%. those dollars would follow the student just like we do on the education fund. That was very easy to figure out. The formula is already there, so you just mirror the education fund formula. 20% would go to county government, and we'd follow a formula of 75% emphasis on population, 25% emphasis on miles of roadway, which is fair for both a rural versus an urban community. What that means for Randolph County specifically, you would see based on that formula and distribution model, and this is I'm referring to a fiscal analysis put together by LSA, or Legislative Services Agency. This is off last year's bill, so there's going to be changes to it that I'm going to discuss in a minute. But just from an overall standpoint, to show that the numbers work with the system, you would end up seeing a general fund budget with this system of between 13.6 to 15.9 million, depending on the low or the high side of that estimates, in 2029, based on that proposal that I put, or I'm sorry, based on 2028, because this was last year's bill, so it's been a year behind. So that'd be a 5.4 to $7.7 million increase in your general fund budget with that funding formula. County or city governments would be the next bucket at 20% as well. They'd follow a similar formula: 75% emphasis on population, 25% on miles of roadway. Township government, fire districts, fire territories, and library boards, all your other smaller, really none of those of any formula that I ran worked out great, because they're so inconsistently funded across the state, especially looking at township government. Some have their own fire protection, others have mutual aid agreements, or part of a fire district or a fire territory. So because they're inconsistently funded, really none of the formulas worked great. So what I ended up doing is a 5-year look back, average the net levies, rate of inflation adjustments moving forward. To be honest, that's kind of a placeholder for that. I think there needs to be more of a discussion on township governments, fire districts, fire territories, on how you're funding those. What would probably work out the best or make the most mathematical sense is to take the portions that was going towards township government, fire districts, take that and send it to the counties, have the county councils then allocate back to the townships based on the needs locally out of that total bucket, or have the conversation, does the county take on those services themselves. But to be honest, I didn't want to take on the township battle at the same time as trying to take on the property tax discussion. But honestly, that would make the most sense as part of the discussion. And then TIF districts would be the last category. So TIF districts would eventually go away, but you pay off the debt and the bond obligations through the revenue coming in with sales tax on services. Once the bonds are paid off, then that TIF would be dissolved, and the funds that were going to pay off the TIF bonds would end up going back to the counties, into the funding formula to be split back up amongst all the other units of government. So that's kind of the original proposal I've been working off as I've been going on to this session. But I do want to I've been doing this kind of the statewide listening tour that's brought a lot of attention to this, trying to sell this, trying to build support for it. And in those discussions, it's come up, speaking with some bond attorneys, that I was unaware of a contractual obligation in a lot of your local unit of government bonds, which prohibits refinancing the bonds for periods of up to 10 years, depending on the length of the bond. And due to that means you have to have a portion of the property tax system in place to legally back those bonds that you're contractually entered into for that 10-year period. So what I'm looking at doing is modifying this proposal to focus on the homeowners first. So a full repeal and elimination of the homeowners' property taxes within the 2-year period that I previously outlined. But then on the 2% and the 3% properties, they would still be paying into the property tax system to back the bonds, to have that bond backing and assurities. That does a couple things. It gives us a little bit longer runway on building up that surplus in which you actually build up to a bigger surplus, a larger surplus, to have some more bond stability for going forward. Takes care of that issue of meeting our contractual obligations and not putting our bond rating in jeopardy. But then it also gives us the ability to kind of phase this in to where you're not going to get hit with a big shock at once of switching from one system to a new system on funding local units of government. The way the math works out on that is, out of that 10.6 billion that I mentioned of property taxes for next year, that's going to be collected statewide, roughly 3.4 billion is your 1% property taxes, your homestead properties, and so if we would add a sales tax exemption to business transactions onto the list of exemptions that I previously mentioned with the sales tax on services, that would drop that revenue to about roughly $7 billion. So more than double what you need to replace your homestead property taxes, but still be able to provide some additional revenue coming into local units of government as you're facing some of these tighter constraints and inflation, but also able to build up those healthy reserves more slowly over time as you're till you work to eliminate the 2s and the 3%. And then also have reductions for property taxes on the 2s and the 3% as well. If we did that, I think you would have to put a rate cap type structure in as well, so you don't just see both systems continuing to grow over time. We would also make sure upon passage of the bill that there could be no new bonds tied to the property tax system as you're trying to phase off that system onto the new system. And then once you've got met that threshold to where the bonds could be refinanced, you're past those contractual obligations, then we could move forward with the full repeal of the entire property tax system. Once that's done, there's also savings to local units of government and the state as well. Once you've eliminated the entirety of the property tax system, saves between roughly 150 and $200 million a year in expenditures and just collecting and remitting the tax versus sales tax on services. You eventually eliminate the assessor's office, you eliminate about half of DLGF. DLGF would still be there, but it'd just be more of that budget oversight. From a transparency standpoint, you wouldn't have this back and forth problem right now where you're waiting on DLGF. And then it also have some additional savings at some of your county office reduction in workload. It wouldn't eliminate any of the other offices, but it would be a reduction in workload on some. And then from a revenue and a budgeting standpoint, right now you get your property tax disbursements twice a year. By moving to the system, it would be the same as your lit and your tourism tax, your innkeeper's tax, food and beverage tax. You get monthly distributions versus twice a year distributions. So with that, I could go on this, but with that, I think I'd better just stop and talk about what you want to. If anybody has questions.
Threw a lot at us.
I did.
JD, for me, JD has a good presentation because there's some figures that I kind of understand that I didn't understand before. And Greg and I went to a meeting about a month ago, and I didn't understand too much, but that was a good presentation for the figures.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. I was anxious about the repeal because I didn't think the replacement would be a very good idea, but I liked your ideas on the replacement side. What are the major categories of service that would provide that revenue since you've cut out healthcare?
Yeah.
Entertainment. What are the other big utilities?
So utilities are already taxed. So there wouldn't be a new tax on utilities because they're already taxed. Same thing with hotel tax and keeper's tax. You already have an innkeeper's tax. You wouldn't have another service tax there. But really, any labor type service that's not already taxed would be in that category. So your larger expenditures that would be taxed would be your attorney's fees. I'm sorry, Minx. Attorney's fees, construction cost would be on the labor piece. So, But let's think through that for a second on the construction cost. Yes, that's going to be one of your higher expenditures. But let's think a $300,000 house, for example. $300,000 house, roughly half of that cost is going to be the labor, half of it's the material. You're already paying sales tax on the material. So $150,000 for the labor. So take that times 7%, that comes out to $10,500. And then, so yeah, that would be an additional $10,500 on top of the cost of a $300,000 house. But you no longer have the property tax system with this system.
Right.
So if you're up against the 1% tax cap, that's $3,000 a year plus. Well, because you know that assessment's going to continue to go up each year, so it's not going to stay at 3,000. It's going to continue to go up. But let's just stay static at 3,000 for conversation. That would be 3.5 year break even. So my argument to homeowners on that, or people that are thinking about building a home, would you rather pay that $10,500 up front and be done with it? Or would you rather pay $3,000 plus for the life of the home? So that'd be one of your larger expenditures. Realtor fees, this question comes up quite a bit. Realtor fees would be a service tax. It wouldn't be on the sales price of the home. It would be just on the commission. So again, let's use the $300,000 house, for example. If they're charging a 7% commission, now you're at $21,000 is your commission for selling that property. You're taxed on the $21,000, not on the $300,000 sale. So those would be some of your. So what you're doing with this system is you're broadening your base out. Everybody's paying into it, and that's how you're able to generate more revenue. Plus non-citizens, anybody coming across our state line and buying services within our state, they're going to be paying into it.
Are other states already doing this as far as on services? I saw Missouri was switching off of their most recent state to drop their income tax.
Mm-hmm.
The more you do consumer-based taxes, the less you put on ownership of property and so on. I know there's pluses and minuses, but I would assume that it would probably encourage the economic investment more to have more of a consumer tax versus a property tax.
Yeah, so there's a few other states that have sales tax on service. I think there's 4 states that have sales tax on services as just a net sales tax on service. There's a few others that have a gross receipts tax. But no state has completely eliminated the property tax system and switched to sales tax on services. This would be a first in the nation if we did this. There's a few other states that have proposals to eliminate property taxes, some of which don't have proposals to backfill. They've got ballot referenda or ballot initiatives that's been basically citizen led to put it on to eliminate property taxes, but they don't have a replacement. If those ballot initiatives would pass, those general assemblies would have to figure out what they're going to do from a replacement.
What would you do with out-of-state investors in property?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything to try to gain revenue from that? Because here obviously that's a big thing.
Right.
You have a lot of Ohio ownership of Randolph County property.
Yeah, so they would still be, if they're buying services of their property, they would still be paying into the system. They're just going to be paying in on the service side now versus the property tax system. So when you're looking at interstate commerce, you got to treat everybody, fairly as best you can, but they would still be paying in. If you are a, absentee landowner, those are going to be the ones that are hiring more of their services done, their landscaping services, their mowing services. So they would still be paying on the on the service side, just not on the property tax side. And I would say I think the LSA estimates are actually low because the way the Legislative Services Agency, anytime they put a fiscal analysis for us, they have to use static scoring. They can't use dynamic scoring. If we were the first state in the nation to repeal the property tax system for the homeowners, then with that, that long-term plan of eliminating for all property tax types, and this I failed to mention earlier, this would also eliminate business personal property as well, tax, once it's fully phased in. But that would, I think, be tremendous economic growth to our state and home construction coming in, bringing in people into our state. to be able to actually own your home and not continue to make those monthly payments on your property, and then from the business growth. So I think it'd be a huge economic development tool for the state and each of our counties as well.
JD, you mentioned there'd be several entities that would not be, they would be exempt from this, healthcare doctors. So they will not be paying into that. So technically, they'll not be paying into any services rendered to them. Right now, Randolph County has 894 parcels that nobody pays property tax on. To me, everybody should pay a minimum amount due to services provided, fire, police, EMS. That will not happen on either case, so especially for not-for-profits and the exemptions that we currently have in place.
Yeah, so let me clarify, like on the medical, for example, if it's a for-profit healthcare provider, if you went to a doctor's visit, you would not have to pay sales tax on services. But if that for-profit hospital, if they hired a construction company to build they would still have to pay on, if it's a healthcare service, that would be what sales tax exempt, not the, so I do want to clarify that, but if it's a nonprofit, you are correct, they would not be. And I think that's one thing that we could look at, right? You could limit those deductions or exemptions and not, tighten that up even further and then have a lower rate. So I understand your point. And let me add on to that just a little bit too, because that's one of the, as I've been going around the state doing these listening tours, question that comes up quite a bit is, why are we bringing in more revenue than we're replacing with the property tax system? Are we just growing government? Well, there's a couple reasons for that. One, you have to have that very healthy revenue reserve account because you've got to have stability for the bonding markets when you're moving to a variable tax system. But the other part of that is, I know how the General Assembly systems worked. I've been in a few years now, that any bill that goes through, it's very rare that a bill goes through unamended, right? So I want to keep that tax base broad and have your rate lower. Really, what's truly needed is 5.5% to 6% for the replacement, and still have increases to local unit government build up the reserve account. So if you could actually keep that base broad, or even broaden it further, and you could really do this at a lower rate, but I want to have enough buffer in case a exemption gets added to the bill that I might not necessarily want, but that's the will of the body. I want to make sure enough buffer that the math would still work if a unexpected exemption comes in. So I do want to just make note of that.
And along the lines of what you just spoke, I cannot imagine your bill getting through without, as you're presenting it, without a bunch of stuff attached to it.
I completely agree. There's going to be amendments to a proposal like this. The funding formula itself, I know, would be heavily negotiated, right? Because each community is going to want to make sure that it's fair for them. But yes, I agree.
Okay. I just want to know if Michael Dix is still on your Christmas card list. Your Christmas card list, not his.
I don't think we're on either. I will say, for an economist, I think he needs to do a better job at his math, because he's put some figures out there that are completely incorrect that I could dispel within a matter of minutes. And if he wants to ever have a discussion, I'd be happy to do that. I wish him well as he moves to Virginia. I'm thankful to see him leaving Ball State.
Anybody else have any questions?
It is interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. It would, it'd be interesting to see what it would end up looking like if it actually went through. I just can't imagine how much different it would look than your presentation.
It would, I'm sure it would change as it goes through. But I mean, think about the system that we're operating under. The property tax system that was established when the state was established, the initial base of it. The main rules that we're under are really about 150 years old, with band-aids put in place every 10, 20 years, and then smaller band-aids put in place every year or two. But really, we're operating on a 150-year-old system with the guts of it. just think about what our economy was like when the property tax system was established. It was, most people had an 80-acre homestead and they had pretty consistent across the state on what they owned. So it was a fair tax system at that time, in that day and age. Now we're under a service-based economy. Our economy's changed. And I think our taxing structure and how we fund local units of government needs to modernize as well.
Okay, hearing no other questions, thank you for your time and the designation on the highway and your presentation.
Thank you all. If you ever need anything, feel free to reach out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve Justice.
Greetings, Councilman and Councilwoman. Steve Justice, I'm with United States Senator Jim Banks' office. serve as his regional director. Basically, my role is just to be the eyes and ears on behalf of the senator. So if you guys have any questions on legislative or constituent services, I'd be happy to assist you in those areas. And by note, if you guys ever take a trip to Washington, D.C., please let me know. And we'd help you assisting with your trip to Washington, D.C. By chance, maybe and possibly meet Senator Banks there at the nation's capital. If you do want to go to the White House, please let us know that too. Obviously, due to security reasons over the years, it takes several months for individuals to be able to enter the White House here. So basically, I was just here for goodwill greetings on behalf of the senator. We obviously are part of the federal government. And so I've heard today here talking about some of the dealings with the federal government. In our offices, we do a constituent services, basically that with individuals, but also with government utilities at the local level, state level, and sometimes we'll be able to assist those who have a question with the federal agency. Let's just say, for example, one time when I worked in the office, like to say someone filed for disability and Social Security. That's just one example with federal government. If they contact our office, we will contact Social Security on their behalf. They would have to fill out a private release form. And what that will do would speed the process of, having their hearing taking place there. And so instead of being way low at the end, it helped, because they contact our office, we contact Social Security, say, hey, please place this on the Senator Banks' interest. And it speeds the process and stuff like that. So sometimes, obviously, government can be slow, but please contact us here in case you have a federal question, federal issues. We'd be love to be able to assist you in those matters. On constituent services, our individuals have been in there for many years, and so they're well trained. If you have questions, possibly, hey, is there a federal grant out there? We have an individual in our office that, specializes in those areas as well. So I appreciate your time. I do have my business card, so I'll pass that along here. And like I said, you feel free to contact us if you ever have a need on the federal side of things. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anybody got any questions for Mr. Banks?
He's on a couple, I forgot to mention the committees there. He's on the Health, Education, Labor, Pension Committee, and he's also on the Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs. He is a veteran himself, so he's on the Veteran Affairs Committee and Armed Services Committee as well, just to let you know on the committees that he serves in the U.S. Senate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, other business. Mark Wishner, Randolph County Sheriff.
Good morning.
Morning.
I came up yesterday with the commissioners, and I wanted to do the same thing with council today. Obviously, as Greg had stated earlier, we'd lost Marshall Fisher last week, and quite a tragedy. I just wanted to commend the first responders that were on scene and the job that they did. They all very professional doing their job. We've had a tough time Sunday with the services. But I think it's a tribute to the county that our first responders came together very well, did their job professionally. Obviously, Marshall Fisher made the ultimate sacrifice, but also the community we live in, and the way they've kind of surrounded the first responder community and the Fisher family as well in coming together. So there's going to be some of that and some tough times. So if you run into any of your local first responders, they're going through a pretty hard time right now. We have some things set up that we're going to deal with that locally as a group, and then any individuals that need that, we're going to take care of them also and continue to take care of Brad's wife and children and his family. So I just really blessed to serve in a community like this. And it unfortunately, these tragedies remind us what's important and what we need to look at and focus on as far as family and friends and community. But I wanted to come up and let you guys know I'm very proud of this community and specifically the first responders involved in this. We've got a great group of people here, and I have the distinct honor of working with them. So I just wanted to say that publicly and put that out to you guys. And if you see any of them, just some of them could sure use a hug this week.
Yeah.
So with that, that's all I have, unless you guys have anything for me as the sheriff.
I don't think so.
Then I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, next is approving of the minutes of the June 18th joint meeting.
So moved.
David moved first.
Second.
Todd second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Back. Okay. Okay, on the jail maintenance, ordinance 2026-12, salary jail maintenance. For the amendment for the young man that applied to be the maintenance person at the jail.
Bev, do you have your ordinance language handy?
Yeah, I just wanted to sign that. I move that council adopt or pass ordinance 2026-12, salary jail maintenance after the first reading.
Second.
It's been so moved and seconded to pass the ordinance 2026-12 on the first reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
I move that the rules be suspended and have the second and third reading by title only and adopted the same day.
Second.
It's been so moved and seconded to amend the second reading and adopt it on the same day. So everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I move that the council adopt ordinance 2026-12, salary jail maintenance.
Second.
It's been so moved and seconded to adopt the 2026-12 salary jail maintenance. The third reading. In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.
You're in charge. Don't put it in your pile.
Okay, next on the agenda of other business is the Must Committee decision to move forward and council appointment. We did have our first Must Committee, or not the committee, but Must meeting. It was very informational. The lady from Baker Tilly presented everything. We had a decent turnout. I was hoping for more. especially of town clerks and whatnot. But I think she did a really good job of presenting what they needed to do and what information they needed to bring back. And we need to make a decision here as to how many more meetings we're going to do, and also choose someone to represent, on the council to represent the Musk's meetings later on, as for approval and everything.
I'll make a motion to have Greg Cheeseman represent us as council, the Musk Committee.
I'll second that.
It's been so moved, seconded by Larry first and David second, to elect Greg Cheeseman as the Musk Committee appointment. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Not hearing anything, so moved. Okay. And also, how do you got input on this, Laura? What?
You just need to say if you want to move forward or not, and then we'll get the meeting date set with Baker Tilly. And
We're looking at 2 more meetings?
we don't know that yet.
We don't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
At least, I'm going to say at least 2 more.
yes, now the 30,000, was that per meeting?
No.
That
no,
was
no,
for
no.
the total package?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if we have 3 or 4, it's gonna be the same?
Correct.
Okay, I wanted to get that clear.
Yeah. So you just need to say if you want to move forward with the must. I'm guessing since you just approved
I'll make a
somebody.
motion to move forward with the Musk Committee as Greg Cheeseman as our representative.
Second.
Todd seconded, so we will move forward with our meetings and try to get everyone educated as best we can.
Do we need to approve Baker Tilly as the Musk?
You've already done that.
Okay.
You've already contracted with them. So I'll just let Susan know that you
Okay.
voted to move forward and that Greg's our rep. And then we'll get another meeting set. So, and all of you can come to the meeting. It's a public meeting. Greg will just be the person.
Yeah, there won't be any decisions made until the end, and then you guys won't even be involved in that. I'll be the only one involved since you've elected me to be the committee representative. But our basic, just to give basic information, I think it was kind of talked about that we would have at least 2 more, with this third one being our final meeting, but we'll see how we get along on the second one. Because the second meeting, the people that attended, that will reattend, will bring figures, and Susan will have some kind of spreadsheet thing that they can start plugging in numbers and start seeing how all this is going to fit together and work, allegedly. So, yeah.
So the representatives will be Greg and any city and town clerk that wants to. I've had 2 or 3, and I couldn't tell you which ones, but have said they want to be involved. Once I let Susan know we're moving forward, resend that email that we sent out asking who wanted to do it. Because basically the way she explained it is whomever is here on that committee will be involved in making decisions. But the ones that are not here, they're going to get what they get. So if they're not here to put in their input as to what their town or city needs, then that's their fault. But the only
place here?
Yeah, the only people that are by statute, one council and a council or representative of council's choice, which you've chosen, Greg, and then each city and town clerk are the only ones on the committee, but anybody can attend and listen.
And this exercise we're going through is not binding in any way for next year's taxes. It's basically an information gathering. We're doing all the work to give the legislature and Senate the figures of what the towns want. So
it doesn't have any impact on the next one or next one?
Correct.
Right.
This will be a 2-year exercise before the actual.
We did a move in a second, but we didn't do a vote, just procedurally. Should we do a vote on that last motion?
Thought we did.
No, I also noticed that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, decision to move forward.
Decision to
Okay.
move forward? Okay, I thought we did. A vote on the decision to move forward. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, opposed?
Sorry, I didn't mean to be a pain.
That's all right. No, I want it done right. I just thought I did it.
Just a little bit to expound on what Greg and Laura were saying, when we had the meeting the other night, we had some towns and clerks or treasurers, but we didn't have them all.
No, we did not. I am not near all. So it was, like I said, I wished it was better attended, but we'll deal with what we have. Okay, moving on, if there's nothing else on that subject. Todd?
One question.
Go ahead.
I missed the invite, and that's my fault. But how did other towns, clerks and so on, how were they notified? Was that an email or what was that?
Email
Okay.
by Baker Tilly, and then we also reached out.
But, and the reason we met, the council wasn't, we didn't get notified till late, because Baker Tilly,
Yeah, they
remember
didn't
what happened.
include the council's emails on their invite, so I had Nikki just go ahead and forward that to you guys too.
and so,
So
that's
No,
why
I just
our-
didn't look in time, so that's my fault.
but we got a later notice than everybody
Okay.
else did. Okay, moving on, additional appropriations. Can we throw all the generals
Yep,
together?
you can actually do them all together because you're gonna sign one form.
Okay. Additional appropriations, the general fund, the building administrator, $3,557.40. General telecommunicator at $35,481.60. Jail maintenance, $2,701.60. The VSO overtime at $300. The emergency 911 payroll at $23,205.60. The general area planning overtime, $1,000. Land what?
Land host, that's a highway fund.
Okay. Land host highway bridge repairs, $700,000. And River Start 5-bridge bundle at $30,000. Do I hear a motion to approve these all at once? Yes, go ahead, Larry.
Is the telecommunicator, is that LEAP or is that?
No, that's the 911 raises
Okay.
that was approved.
Okay.
So we're just appropriating money to cover the additional for the rest of this year.
And did we get any explanation from Deb on the APC overtime?
Was she here? Deb's here, if you have a
I
question.
thought she was here yesterday.
She's here now.
Oh,
So you can call her up and ask her if you'd like.
where is she at?
She's sitting over behind you, or
Come up.
you can't see behind Sherry.
Was your overtime due to a lot of our ordinance changes, Deb, or was Christie out of the office for,
Yes,
or all the above?
all of the above. We have, in addition to our 35-hour week, we have 22 meetings scheduled throughout the year. We don't have to have them, but we have had, I think, every single one this year, plus long solar meetings in the evenings. And it just, the week that we incur the overtime is the hardest week to get out of the office.
Right.
So when we had comp time, it was so much easier to use it when we weren't busy, but we can't do that now, so.
Okay.
With Christie out, Bev and Christie and I tag team every week to make sure the office is covered and
Sure.
we tried to reduce the overtime, but
Okay.
just
Well,
got
I
away
wanted-
from us.
I wanted to assume, but I didn't want to assume for everybody, so, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Yeah, the 700,000, that's not the item we've been talking about yesterday and today. Is it related to the late bill? Or is it, is that what it is? Okay. No, I heard it yesterday. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, I need a motion to approve.
I make that motion.
We made the motion to approve, second.
Second.
Beverly makes second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion approved. Okay, as you can see, our budget hearings will be our next meetings, dates at Tuesday, starting at Tuesday, August the 25th at 8:30, and again, Wednesday, August the 26th at 8:30 in the morning. Our next regular council meeting will be Wednesday, on a Wednesday this time, September 9th. Next is citizens' comments. Does anybody want to come forward and have anything to say to council? We got a brand new 3-minute clock, so if anybody's interested in trying it out for the first time.
Hope you don't ask me to run it, Greg.
It's not turned on right now.
I can't set the
I
alarm.
think Tom unplugged it yesterday, so.
Okay.
Meeks, you gonna try it?
Okay, nobody hearing nothing from the citizens, need a motion to adjourn. Or no, need to go around the table, yes. Meeks, you have anything to add to us? David?
I don't think I'll have any. I'll need to sit down with Nikki to update this report on courthouse project, or all our projects.
Okay.
Nothing.
Nothing from Brad?
Oh, I've got a couple things, Greg.
Okay.
A couple things happened in the county as improvements, and I'd just like to bring them to the public for people to see. And as I travel around, and one of them is in my neighborhood, so I guess I'm kind of partial. But if everyone's aware of the behind Willard School is what they call the Geyer Circle, okay? And since we've been there about 2.5 years, it's kind of funny to think that, like other places in Randolph County, if somebody's looking for directions, like everybody's looking for the Gaslight Edition, I can just tell them to go to Geyer Circle behind Willard School and at Gaslight. Well, there's a real nice gazebo there, and thanks go out to the city, to the mayor. I went to him a couple months ago, and gazebo's been there for a while, and they repainted the roof and put a couple nice park benches in front of it, and it really makes a difference. And another great improvement, I thought, of course, there again, I'm kind of partial, because way back when, I was on the cemetery board for Fountain Park Cemetery for the city council. But they've most recently got all the front fence fixed from the tornado, and they have the drives was gravel, dusty. They put asphalt on about half of the drives in the Fountain Park Cemetery, and it really looks nice. And I mean, for 20 years, 25 years, when I was on the board, they tried to get monetary donations for the drives, and it finally happened. So there's 2 points of interest that really, I think, improve Randolph County. And the only other thing is, as everybody knows, we had last year's budget was about 2.6, and the requested one this year is 2.9. So we've obviously got a little bit of work to do. So that's all I got.
Thank you. Appreciate the information on the improvements. Todd?
The salary committee's met a couple times, and most recently, we looked at projections based off of 2 rate possibilities and compared those to the past 3 years and the ordinances that were put into place in 2025. We got our budget books here just recently. Between now and August 25th, we're going to try to get something to all the council so that they have sort of the results of the salary committee meeting on hand when we sit down there on August and we start going, on day 2 through all the salaries. Is it the second day that we do the salaries? Mm-hmm. So that we have, some perspective. Although if you look at one thing that is useful, if you look at the sheet that Dave gave you, you guys all still have these in somewhere. There's a page in here that shows about 10 years worth of year by year history. So what we did only goes back 2 years, but you can see on here kind of what's happened over the last several years, which is helpful to know the pattern, which there really hasn't been a strong pattern. It's been a lot of fluctuation in what we've done. Would like to see some more consistency, actually, and that's one of the recommendations we'll make as a committee. So we'll give our spreadsheet that we're working on to Danita, if that works for you. And I think she has put that number in the packet in some way in the past. It's probably too late for that now, isn't it, since we've got the.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
I don't know if she has time to add that or not, but we
right.
can.
So somewhere or the other, we'll make sure we're not just coming into it cold on that second day. And I'd like for everybody to take a look at these numbers so that, you're prepared to talk about number of people and rates and that sort of thing.
And every year, Danita requests that the salary studies start meeting earlier, and that would help her in her job to get that information all accumulated. Every year, it ends up last minute before we get it. So just keep that in mind for next year.
Sure. Laura, do you have anything to add?
I do not.
I don't have anything. So, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Larry makes first, second.
Todd.
Todd. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.